trail has traveled a good ways, horses and riders, all the way from north-central Nevada at the foot of the Ruby Mountains to this high country in the heart of Great Basin National Park. Today, they're finishing a haul of over 4 miles and some 2,000 vertical feet from the trailhead at the end of the Snake Creek Road to this alpine lake just south of Pyramid Peak. We're at over 10,000 feet in elevation here, the High Lonesome, right at treeline. The human cargo these horses and mules carry are near the end of their journey, but these riders and their equine partners, volunteers with the backcountry horsemen out of Elko, Nevada, carry additional travelers, aquatic wanderers whose own journey to reach this place spans millennia. And if the biologists of the National Park Service, the Nevada Department of Wildlife, and these volunteers have their way, that journey will continue for years to come. Today, we welcome some new residents to Johnson Lake, high in the southern Snake Range of Great Basin National Park. The epic journey which brought them, eventually, to the roof of the Great Basin is truly astounding, but began, somewhat surprisingly, not far away at all. Hendry's Canyon, some 20 miles north of the park, does not exactly scream fisherman's paradise. Instead, a distinct feeling of sparseness carpets these beige foothills. Sage, rabbit brush, Great Basin rye, all tough customers, adapted to the extremes of high desert life. But the cinnamon hues of ponderosa pine expose a secret in the canyon's depths. There is water here, water which persists year-round, and provides a minimal safe harbor for our story's resilient vagabonds, refuge to a fish whose world, just a few thousand years ago, was a whole lot bigger. Hendry's Creek, on this day, just 2 days before the ride to Johnson Lake, has drawn in some additional guests as well.
Alright guys, you want to keep your eyes open and let me know when you're ready. Ready. Shocking. There's a hoss right there.
Nice. Whoa.
Coming now. Alright, Kels. Good job.
There's the bucket.
Short-timers only. These fish enthusiasts, pushing through the grasping thorns of wild rose and poison ivy, are here to conduct some unconventional fishing and to facilitate the next leg in the epic journey of the Bonneville Cutthroat Trout. John Reynolds is a fish biologist at Great Basin National Park. This is his project.
It's a part of a larger project where we're trying to increase the number of conservation populations we have and increase the resilience in the face of climate change. The Bonneville evolved in ancient Lake Bonneville, and about 15,000 years ago it started to dry up. So the fish adapted to live their entire life cycle into the mountain streams and the rivers that flowed into the lake. So Lake Bonneville no longer exists. Its remnant is Great Salt Lake, so they pretty much are just a river fish now, or a stream fish.
Hendry's is a Great Basin stream which still sustains a breeding population of Bonneville cutthroat trout. Historic stocking of non-native trout over the years, having eliminated or severely threatened Bonnevilles and other regional waterways. Streams such as this used to connect to massive Lake Bonneville, which thousands of years ago stretched from Snake Valley to the foot of the Wasatch Mountains, 100 miles to the east. Having fled the dying lake into these mountain hideaways, Bonnevilles now maintain a tenuous grip on a threatened habitat. Streams like Hendry's are prone to all manner of disasters which could wipe out any one of these small isolated populations. Fire, drought, and the warming water which accompanies global climate change all wield the threat of final annihilation to this resourceful species. So, John Reynolds and his crew intend to make a proactive strike. By moving some of these Hendry's Creek Bonneville to high-altitude Johnson Lake, and eventually Baker Lake, also within Great Basin National Park, the hope is that they will be able to enjoy the cold, oxygen-rich water they need further into the future than these small mercurial streams can ensure. But first, these folks will need to catch some. This is how you maximize your haul under time constraints in a small stream like Hendry's. These fish, of course, survive the process and are rarely injured in a permanent way. The rod John is brandishing introduces a mild electrical current into the water, leaving any nearby fish stunned and disoriented for a matter of seconds, enough time for a quick net to sweep them up. I won't try to sugarcoat the experience from the perspective of the Bonnevilles. The word hangover immediately comes to mind. But in addition to propping up a species into the future, during an extreme drought year like this, these very individuals would likely have died, frozen into solid ice, in landlocked puddles with the arrival of winter. Several were indeed grabbed out of tiny pools no longer connected to the flowing stream. At this point, urgency is of the essence. Every attempt is made to limit stress on the fish. They need to complete the journey, alive and exuberant, to their new high-altitude fortress in the Snake Range. So it's quickly into an aerated cooler, a chauffeured trip out of the canyon, and into a specialized truck provided by the Nevada Department of Wildlife, where they will be hauled along some 40 miles of highways and dirt road to the Johnson Lake Trailhead in Great Basin National Park. After spending the night in the water of Snake Creek, the Bonnevilles, in the morning, will be loaded back into coolers and lashed to pack animals for their pilgrimage into the high country. For maybe 10,000 years, these Bonnevilles have called this stark, lonely canyon their home. Despite the odds and the loss of massive Lake Bonneville, they were able to carry on way out here, largely beyond our knowledge. But today, our influence reaches every remote place, and while a lively population of fish is left behind to continue their legacy, a few important individuals will now hopefully prove a bulwark against extinction in a rapidly changing world.
I'm Jonathan Reynolds, and I'm the fish biologist at Great Basin National Park. Today was a good day. We actually got to introduce 55 Bonneville Cutthroat Trout into the lake. We're trying to increase the resilience in the face of climate change, and it seems that there's becoming more drought, more wildfires, and as the temperature warms in the air, the water temperatures of the streams will also warm. We're at a higher elevation. This is the area in the park that gets the most precipitation. So we're hoping that with the higher elevation, the water won't get warm as quickly, and because there's the most precipitation up here, they won't be as affected by drought. And then with wildfire, it is a little more sparse up here, sparsely vegetated, so wildfires don't usually become as catastrophic at this elevation. So hopefully this lake will be protected from, even if there is a local forest fire, hopefully this population will still do just fine.